Today, we're going to be talking about Black Panther, so stay tuned.
Welcome to The Real Review.
Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I'm here with my co-host, Joel. The real question is, what are those, Cunningham?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. That was totally... we're already getting the spoiler shock. We're already spoiling it. Just say what we're saying. I was going to say, that was one moment I was like, what the heck is going on? That was pretty crazy. I am here. That was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I am here with Matt. Sings like Prince when he's dancing in the shower. Hey.
I have no words.
Like,
I have no words for that.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Yeah, you know what? I have no response or retort.
Is it true? That's all I want to know.
I can't dance. So
you can't dance?
No.
Wow. I'm
Yeah,
surprised to find that out.
I hated school.
I thought you were like, I thought you were one of those multi-talented. You sing.
No,
you act,
I sing and act, but the dancing, I just didn't get the trifecta.
That's the trifecta.
So I got
right
the sing and the act, but the dancing is where it doesn't.
So I will never see you on Dancing with the Stars. I guess
Never.
the dancers on there are not very good.
They get trained.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we will. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't have any desire to do that ever. So hey. Anyways, welcome to the show, guys. This is The Real Review. If you're tuning in for the 100th time, or I guess it'd be the 62nd time, or
62nd,
or the first time. Basically what we do here is kind of balance it out a little bit here. You got me, who's very emotional when I review movies. If it kind of pulls on the heartstrings, if I feel like something is fun enough, I will overlook the little minute details, the things that maybe I won't be as analytical, I guess, as things as where you have Joel.
Putting it, yeah.
We'll be pretty analytical at times, very critical of different things that maybe get into the details a little bit more than I would. Not to say that we both won't, kind of cross over into each other's territories a little bit.
That's true. I'd say on an average decibel level of review, I stay kind of the same area, and you tend to be more spikes.
I'm way more.
I watch it when I'm editing. I see it. You're just like.
I'm way more emotionally unstable, guys. I apologize for that. It's just who I am.
It's very true.
It's who I am.
Yeah.
I am who you say I am. Here we go.
No worries.
So, that's how you do that. Joel, why don't you give everybody a way that they can get connected with us on the Real Review podcast?
Well, we got a few ways to do so. We've got our website, which is realreviewmedia.com.
Indeed.
Love to get connected with you on there.
Yeah.
We also have our Facebook, which is where we post a ton of content. We've got little video clips that we're putting up there. We've got a bunch of other stuff. I just did a first mini review through the Stardust app. I might start doing those little kind of quick quick reactionary type reviews for films and stuff. That's facebook.com/Real Review Media. We've got our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Real Review.
Yeah,
right?
You get it.
And then we also have our Twitter and our Instagram, which our handles for those are both at Real Review Media. And then we'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives. We'd love to hear your input, your reactions. Send those to us. I'm trying to get my volume to spike a little bit more, which is realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Yes.
Shoot us a line.
It's good stuff.
As they say.
Keep in contact together.
We're a connected world.
Yes,
and we want to be connected with you.
So keep us in contact, I guess. I don't know. That's a thing. Yeah, sure.
There you
go. Let's do that. But yeah, let's just dive right into it.
Sure.
Because we got one thing that we're talking about today.
One thing.
We're
gonna do normal and then spoilery.
Yeah. So usually when we do one movie when there's a big very anticipated film, we'll do part non-spoiler and then we'll just dive into spoilers. So let's start off with that. We're gonna be talking about Black Panther, y'all.
Rawr.
Okay. So Black Panther.
Black Panther impersonation.
Quick synopsis. T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, rises to the throne in an isolated, technologically advanced African nation, but his claim is challenged by a vengeful outsider who was a childhood victim of T'Challa's father's mistake. So we got some sins of the past thing happening here. And then starring the wonderful, actually, you know what, dude, the cast in this movie is outrageous.
I'm glad you're doing it this week.
Right.
We know how bad I am.
Well, I'm just saying it's outrageous because everybody is so good.
Oh, I thought you meant the names.
Well, not even that. I'm just saying everybody is fantastic.
Absolutely.
I don't have any problem with anybody in this movie.
Well, we can talk about
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, talk about
But
that.
here, so we have Chadwick Boseman,
Yep.
Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrera, Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, Letitia Wright, my fave, Winston Duke, Sterling K. Brown, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Andy Serkis, Florence Kasumba, Angela Bassett. Did I already say that? Yeah, yeah, I already did. Cool. Anyways, a ton of people.
Sure enough.
I actually really loved everybody about.
And a
that.
Stan Lee cameo, which happens.
Oh yeah. But that happens. That's to be expected.
It is.
Yeah.
I just had to throw it out.
Yeah. Stanley. So he's in there also. Overall, my thoughts.
Yes. General thoughts.
Really liked the movie.
Cool.
Really liked it.
Roll credits.
Yeah, roll credits. All done. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. So I really like this movie. Let me start off with some positives. Yeah. I really thought the acting overall and all around was really good. There was kind of what's really interesting, and I wasn't sure where to put this at first, but what I really liked about this movie is that, because I wasn't sure if this is a negative or a positive, then I thought about it. I thought it was a positive because it's different. It's a different formula than other Marvel films. Yeah. What I really liked about it is I wasn't on board with the movie specifically just for T'Challa. I was on board with all the supporting characters, everybody around him. I was really on board with. Yeah. My favorite character in the movie was Eric Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan's character. Second favorite character was Letitia Wright's character. I think her name was Shuri. I really enjoyed her, and T'Challa was good. He wasn't like the main person to me for some reason. Like I wasn't like, I get what's happening, but like I was like, I don't know. Anyways, I think the biggest standout to me is Michael B. Jordan, his character. Yeah. And I think this is the biggest strength to the film. He had me feeling the most emotional than any of the other characters in the film. Yeah. I felt so conflicted at the end of that movie. I was like, he's a bad guy, but I totally feel, I feel the emotion from him, what he's experienced, what he's gone through. There's a scene that he kind of like flashbacks, I guess, a little bit. And I was like, oh man, that is heartbreaking. Yeah. And like, I get him, like I empathize. I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I was feeling that. And you don't get that with villains. And I know very often. Yeah. I know in Marvel movies. I know Marvel movies are maligned for having weak villains, but just villains in general. Yeah. In any film. And I think that's where the strength of his character comes in. Is they draw you in emotionally into his character, and that for me, I was like, dang, and it's just powerful. I thought it was powerful, and I think him and Coogler have been doing the last 3 movies together with Fruitvale and Creed, and I think they're just a super awesome team, and that was probably by far my favorite part about it. I thought the action was really good. You had mentioned it in Stardust. I thought cinematography and the way things looked were really good, really well conceived, especially when it comes to like Wakanda and realizing what this fictional like city looks like. Putting that to screen was really cool to see that. And just because I've heard about Wakanda through like people talking about it through the comic books. I've never read the comic books, but to see it realized and be like, wow, this place is like super technologically advanced and like, wow. I appreciated that because I really thought there was a lot of really relevant social commentary in the movie, but to me, it didn't feel like it was being pushed on me at all either. And I really appreciated it. I thought a lot of it was timely. I thought of it was really well done in a lot of the way that it was conceived and brought forth to the movie. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But just as a whole, entertaining. I thought I really enjoyed it. I don't have a lot of negatives, but I'll say my negatives for a second. How about you? Overall thoughts and positives? So overall positives, really, I think one of the biggest ones was for sure standing out for me was the visual style. Yeah. Marvel's been known in the past as being kind of a very flat overall colorization and style. They generally tend to make their shots
kind of as necessary.
Yeah.
They kind of like whatever they need to put on screen, that's what's going to be there. If it's a wide, it's a wide for a reason. If it's a close up, it's a close up for a reason. And it's not bad. It's kind of it serves as a vehicle to kind of move to the next one.
Right.
This was the first one in a while that some of just the shots really kind of elicited an emotion and a feeling. And I mean, there was even the one shot, and I won't explain when or who or how, but there's like a couple shots where the screen kind of does like a rotation thing, and it's made to very much make you feel like, okay, things are getting flipped on their heads, and it served the plot very well.
Yeah.
The colorization as well. There was such a vibrancy to so much of the shooting and the way that they even colored the film, and I loved that because like I said, again, a lot of the Marvel films in the past have been kind of bland to me, and a very bland slate. Thor Ragnarok is an exception.
Yeah.
I think recently they kind of changed that one up, and there was lots of neons and bold brights.
Yeah.
This one as well, and it wasn't the neons with this as much as it was kind of like that African type colorization, I guess you would say, of that culture and different
costume design was great.
Right. And I know they used different elements of different cultures sort of over in Africa and everything, and I thought that was all beautiful and really cool. Additionally, I really enjoyed, for the most part, I really liked the acting. I think agreed the Michael B. Jordan's role in this was tremendous and really, really good. I mean, it was such a relatable story, and it was like I was thinking to, and I don't want to throw this out because it's going to bring up other issues, but like I'm thinking of Star Wars.
Sure.
And I'm thinking of, you have Rey, who is this girl who lived in this isolated world and this planet, and I'm like searching for her for some idea of like, where's the anger, where's the vengeance, where's the sense of like the bad things that people did to me by putting me in this circumstance. And whereas Michael B. Jordan, you can sense like the difficulty. You get a sense of like the stuff that he's gone through because of the circumstance that he was put in, because of the actions of these people from Wakanda, which he had nothing to do with. He was just living his life. And so it was very deep in that way and very connectable. And the acting overall, I would say, and that kind of tipped us the negative, so maybe I'll stay away from it a little bit, but I did not enjoy Letitia Wright.
Really?
Yeah, not at all.
I loved her. She was like my favorite.
The dialogue she had was fine. It's like, as far as her role in the film, I was totally fine with it. But as an acting job,
really,
I really, every time she came on screen, I felt like, okay, here's you pretending to be this, pretending everybody else, they felt they fit like right into the roles, and she for whatever reason she stood out like a sore thumb.
Wow.
To me, where it just felt like she was playing playing a character, playing a role.
Okay. Hey.
So the other thing I would say that I really enjoyed about it was there was definitely, for me, and that goes along with the whole Michael B. Jordan Killmonger thing, the stakes were there for a lot of the characters. Like, you really felt that this was something that they were taking on very personally, and it was very important to them that certain things happened in a very particular way. And I related to that, and I connected, and that makes good filmmaking. That adds suspense, that adds character depth and story arc, because you're like, is that going to be accomplished for that character? Are they going to see what they have a desire for, a hope for, even if it's bad? Is that going to come to fruition? And so that created a relatability and interest for me, and the stakes were definitely there. Yeah. I think that's kind of the strengths of it. There was a couple action sequences in particular. This again kind of flips on the good and the bad that I really liked. Yeah. The one that I actually got to see at Comic-Con, we talked about this, was the bar scene, or the casino scene.
That was awesome.
Yes. Which I loved it.
I didn't get to see that. I didn't get to see that because you went to Comic-Con.
Right. So I got to see the first time. Yeah. I feel like they changed it actually a little bit for this cut, but it was really good. Yeah. And then the car chase scene. Yeah. Amazing. I loved the car chase scene.
The spear. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I'm sorry if that's spoilers for some people.
There's no spoilers.
Right.
There's you see a casino in the trailer. It's not a spoiler. We know there's a casino in there. Yeah. I'm apologizing needlessly, but I know people like to know nothing about the film sometimes, why do you watch a review if you don't want to know anything about the film? Exactly. Anyway, so I'd say those are my big positives. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so let's start off with some of the negatives then. Yeah.
Letitia Wright, man.
Stop! Letitia Wright was awesome. She was She was my favorite character. Michael B. Jordan and her were like,
Killmonger nailed it.
Oh man,
Michael B. Jordan,
Letitia Wright for me. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, moving right along. We already know that you're not on board with that, but whatever, man.
Well, we know you're not on board with my feeling either.
You know what? It's okay. It's okay. So, let's see here. Where do I start with this? So I would say I thought it started a little slow at first.
Okay.
And then it kind of ramped up into it. Daniel Kaluuya, I love him as an actor, but his character in this movie, I did not. I was like, oh man, I feel like they just needed to have somebody. They didn't write him enough to, I feel like, give him that earned what happens with his character later on. I felt like I don't feel like they developed his character enough. They may have had it on paper, but for what he had in the movie, I don't feel like he was earned what he did towards mid to end of the movie.
Yeah.
And as far as the film is concerned, that's really the biggest thing for me. I don't know if I have a lot of negatives. I had something, I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't have it written down for some reason. There was something specific that I was going to mention that, so this is kind of what made me jump back a little bit, because I wasn't sure, because I felt like going in to see Black Panther, like the character T'Challa, Black Panther was going to be like the main guy, like that I was going to be rooting for.
Yeah.
And that's what I had been thinking about, but I ended up landing on a positive. Like I thought it was okay to have kind of the supporting central cast be like the heart of the movie, not just him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to have you restart some of my memories here.
No worries. Again, we're not dipping into spoiler territory, so it's hard for me to explain this in more detail. But I think for me, what I felt like detracted from an overall sort of experience, like a positive experience with them, so more of a negative, was that what you're talking about right there, when they went into a little bit too much of a detail with some of the characters that were more terrestrial. They were more like on the fringe of the story.
Yeah.
And I felt like because of that, it ended up getting bogged down a lot of the details of the politics that were happening within Wakanda. And as interesting as that kind of is, Wakanda in and of itself, it wasn't innately that much of an interesting thing for me. You know what I mean? It's a city.
Yeah.
And that's cool, and they have an advanced technology, which what's the metal?
Vibranium.
The vibranium was a little bit too powerful. I felt like it was a little bit ridiculous. It's like, oh, we can cure spinal injuries with it, and we can fix you can just do whatever with it. You can get superpowers with it. It was just a little bit too much for me. But outside of all that, the whole Wakanda-ish like identity was interesting. But I didn't want to connect with Wakanda and as much as I wanted to connect with the characters. Mm-hmm. And it floated into this whole power struggles and dynamics of, doing what's right because of Wakanda and my role in the tribe and this. And it was like, I wanted to just kind of have a more straightforward story of like vengeance or revenge, Killmonger getting in there, this attack and this battle and the grand scope and the grand scale of it, because they even say it in the movie. Wakanda is separated, secluded, and they talk about this, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's separated and secluded from the entire rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And so that in and of itself it makes it very unrelatable to me, because it's a closed off environment that I shouldn't have any relatability or connection to. They've said that we're going to just disconnect from the entire world around me. And so because I wasn't super well related to Wakanda, every time that they got too involved in some of the side characters' politics of, what they're going to do and how they're going to act and what's important to them, it was kind of like I get it. It's not that it's bad, but it kind of slowed down. And that's the big thing I would say is like in the middle of it actually started off really well to me, but then it just really kind of slowed and petered out and just kind of went really, really okay. And by the end of the movie, because of that, when they get to the big finale type stuff that's happening, all the action that's happening at the end, I knew what the stakes were for a couple of the characters.
Yeah.
But the only real stakes that I cared about at that point and felt like should have been like at the forefront but wasn't was Black Panther and Killmonger.
Yeah.
But there was so much other stuff going on in that moment.
This was more peripheral at the time.
So it kind of made everything feel very flat.
Okay.
Because it's like I don't know what I'm supposed to really be rooting for or connecting to. I mean, I know what I'm supposed to be rooting for, but I'm jumping from one thing. It's like I forget the Star Wars Episode 1 where they had like 4 different endings going on at once, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to really find that important.
Right.
Like all this stuff is happening. So I don't know. I think there was a path through this film, and we can maybe talk about this more into spoiler territory, where it was a much more straightforward take that would have elevated some of the action sequences for me, and would have removed some of that overly, waning into whatever you call waxing waning into the political territory.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And and it reminded me, it's not related, but the biggest problem I had with this movie is there was a few shots where you're like, that is a green screen.
I've heard a couple people complaining about the CG.
That is a green screen.
Yeah.
And I was watching, I was like, that one doesn't look good. And to the next one, oh, that one looks good. And the next one, I was like, the ones that look good, you can't really ever tell.
Yeah.
That's a point. It fits.
Yeah.
But there was a couple times, and it's during the like some of the ceremonial scenes, I was like, that does not look real. It does not fit, does not look real. And that's my biggest problem. And if that's the biggest problem I have with this movie, then I think this movie's doing something right anyways. And that's really it. I want to talk about what you're talking about, but I can't do it until spoiler stuff.
Ooh.
So maybe let's break it down. What do you want to rate this thing?
I'm going to give this one, I was floating a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm giving it an 87.
Okay.
I was floating towards a low A-, but some of the aspects we'll probably talk a bit more about.
Okay.
To 87.
I'm actually going to give it a 91.
Okay.
And I really, really enjoy this movie, but I want to dive into what you're talking about. So we are going to get into spoilers right now. And if you have not seen this movie, you don't want to be spoiled on some of the specifics, turn it off. Just stop listening, stop watching, whatever you're doing right now, just stop. Okay, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
I'm just kidding.
No, Killmonger dies.
Killmonger dies. Well, does he? I mean, who really dies in the MCU?
Nobody ever dies in the MCU, but
except for Quicksilver.
I will say, except for Quicksilver and Uncle Ben.
Yeah. He's not MCU right now.
That's true.
Well, kind of, if you think about it. Anyway.
I will say that is kind of, pretty much any bad guy so far that we've seen in the Marvel Universe has relatively managed to stay dead.
Yeah.
Most of the bad guys that have died have managed to stay dead.
Minus Loki.
Right. Yeah, but we haven't had a lot of big, which we might see that change with the new Infinity War. We haven't seen a lot of big on-screen deaths for superheroes.
Yeah.
We have yet to have one of our big name actor.
I think
deaths. Superman was dead, but that's DC.
I think Infinity War is going to change it up because they're already talking about how they're going to basically start retooling some of the stuff after Phase 4 or whatever.
I kind of hope so. I think I know we're going to get into spoiler talk with Black Panther here, but I am starting to feel a little bit of that waning interest with Marvel type products. So
maybe they're feeling that and they know that, and that's why they're getting ready to do it. So, Michael B. Jordan. Let's go back to that too.
Yep.
I feel like him when he finds his dad, Sterling K. Brown's character, dead. On the floor. I was like, I felt for him. I was like, oh my gosh.
Same here.
And then when that was part of his flashback. And then when his dad is talking to him in his younger form, and just the performances from those two, I felt it. I was like, man, this is so real right now.
Yeah, and it was interesting choice to go because I was kind of wondering what that dreamlike environment that they were going into really represented, or what it was, and it's really just. In a sense, it's kind of like
it's like looking inward.
It's looking inward, and it's resonating with the most basic, integral parts of what you find important,
right?
And what is a key thing to you.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what it is. Yeah, symbolizes, and so it was interesting.
It's really, I just thought it was super interesting. I was most emotionally moved by his whole character, his whole through line than anything else in the film.
Yeah, he was painfully relatable.
Yeah,
you see him go through that, and the life that he's lived up until then, and being put in these circumstances, and then coming into a world where he's basically had to use force to get anything he's wanted his entire life. And it was really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the character moments where things are intense between them, I got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Coogler on that, because that's something that he's always been really good at with just a lot of his work that he's done in the past. And he's worked with MBJ for a while. And
part of me thought they were going to save him at the end. Part of me was like, maybe they'll say, and I was like, I can't really. Yeah.
Okay, going back to what you were saying, you were talking about
the politics and the
politics.
Action. Yeah.
Okay, so
the Wakanda politics.
I liked some of that because
some of it,
because what it does is it tied Killmonger's kind of his plight, what he wanted to do, but he was like on the extreme side of it. I want to use Wakanda's technology, to help all the oppressed around the world. And I was like, I get that, but he's just, he's just like slaying people left and right. So, so you can't get behind that, But at the same time, at the very end, and they did it as a post-credit scene, the mid-post-credit scene. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was effective because that's essentially T'Challa when he basically his Wakanda coming out party to the world. Yeah. Hey, we're Wakanda. We have all this technology. We're going to try and see if we can help you. That's basically the better side of what Killmonger was ultimately trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And I like that they did that, and they made the arc, complete for me, because T'Challa doesn't really know how to be a king, and his whole thing is, we're afraid that what's going to happen if the rest of the world knows that we're here.
I'm with you on all that.
Okay.
I was totally fine with the politics of it's sort of like an approach to how Wakanda should act and be. And I was fine with that because that was intense and interesting, especially with Michael B. Jordan's story of where he's coming from and that conflict. I was totally cool with that, and I was on board for that conflict between Black Panther and Killmonger. Yeah. Where it got lost for me is like we're getting into the details of like, Daniel Kaluuya and his relationship with Denai, and Denai being like, I'm a sworn protector of this. Agree. And we're getting into like, there was just so much peripheral type political stuff that in stories that I got that main story, that main AB story between the two got lost.
I see. So I agree with you on that. I think that not necessarily Denai, because I really thought she was great in this movie, and I thought her character was fine.
I thought she was a great actress.
Her character I thought was fine in the movie as a secondary character, but Daniel Kaluuya, I don't know how to say his last name. Sorry, dude. His whole, like I was saying, what wasn't earned, like he totally flips on T'Challa. Mm-hmm. And they kind of set it up at the very beginning like they're best friends, but he flips so easy. Yeah. And I understand it, but they didn't write enough for his character to have earned that moment where he's betraying him, essentially.
Yeah. Agreed.
And the other thing
they didn't set that up very well.
Right.
I actually I thought Andy Serkis did an amazing acting job in this. He was a really interesting character.
Yeah.
I really wish they hadn't killed him off so fast. I kind of wanted them... I was fine with them using him to get in. I feel like there's no reason why they couldn't have captured him and brought him into Wakanda.
Okay.
Like Killmonger use him as the key to get in there and then break him out later. That would have been a much more interesting thing to me.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? And then Killmonger and Andy Serkis would have been like partnered up in Wakanda, and he would have been sort of the muscle, the arm to force and manipulate everybody around him. And that would have been even more of an attack to have this person that's from outside that they hate, that stole from them to come. I would have been that would have been like, wow, that's really painful and interesting. But instead we get like, okay, we're going to get into the whole side story. I mean, there was like a 15-minute chunk of the movie where the main character is just dead. You know what I mean? I know he's not dead, but he's like literally not even there. He's just irrelevant to the plot, and they're talking about what's going to happen and where they're going to go, and it was just like I don't need that in a movie that's Black Panther oriented.
Yeah, I thought it was fine that he killed Andy Serkis. I thought it added to his character. It's like, oh, he's just.
I would have been fine with him dying later. I'm totally fine with him dying, but it was like it wasn't earned, his death. Because up until that point, they'd kind of been buddies, and he had failed him. Sure. But he was an interesting enough and a compelling enough character that I would have liked him to kind of continue on. It felt like he died offhandedly.
Oh, I gotcha. It didn't feel that way to me, but I could see where you're coming from with that.
It was similar with, I understood why Forrest Whitaker had to go as well, but he as well was kind of like, you didn't really serve a purpose in your sacrifice. I mean, you saved him once, but then you die, and then, big whoop.
Well, T'Challa would have been absolutely dead if Forrest Whitaker didn't intervene.
I know.
Because they threw him over a waterfall. I mean, who was thinking at that moment, oh my gosh, you just killed Black Panther? I mean, there's no audience
I know,
member.
For all intents and purposes, though, his sacrifice was very limited.
Right.
I mean, there was the script mandated that he throw him over the waterfall versus stabbing him. But in a normal circumstance, a guy would have just chopped his head off.
Yeah, he was about to behead him, for sure.
I mean,
so anyways, so with that, I could see that a little bit.
Well, and again, I'm talking about like the politics of Wakanda. Martin Freeman's role in this was so non-necessary to me. He was kind of along for the ride, and then they just had to give him something to do, so he ends up flying some planes trying to...
Yeah, he didn't need to be in it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that could have been Andy Serkis's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, Martin, that was odd. I mean, it was... Yeah, he did not need to be in it. I could see that too. Also, I didn't there's supposed to be this love relationship between Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o, and T'Challa that I wasn't feeling a lot. You know, they have this kind of past. I'm like, they're playing this up. I didn't really feel that much.
The kiss was a bit abrupt when they finally kisses her. You're like, oh, I guess
that was actually one of the bad green screens things. I remember too. I was looking about. I was like, that's green screen. Stop it.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's really the big stuff I have to say about it. Let's see here. Oh, one part that I thought was super cool was Denai's part when they were doing that car chase scene.
Yeah.
That vibranium spear and it sticks in the ground and the car just runs into it and just like wraps around it. I was like, dude, that was awesome.
Although it was a bit ridiculous, I will say the end to their scene where Nakia is Nakia, she's driving and she just like slides up on the chair. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought
that was actually pretty
funny.
It was, although it was like silly because it's like that's unrealistic. It was still really funny.
Yeah, and I didn't know that suit could do that. I thought it was cool that like the what was it, like it stores the kinetic energy.
Oh yeah, the kinetic energy.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
that was kind of a fun thing to it. I think. Yeah, I wish they had kept it more structured around that central plot and not dwelled into so many of the side stories, and it would have made it a little bit more compelling, a little bit more interesting to me.
Sure.
And I probably would have given it a bit higher of a rating, to be honest. I mean, overall, it was a good outing for them, and I think they did a really great job with it. But it was just that it kept the action as well from being as, because those big battles where he's having to fight for like the throne in a sense were less important because I'm looking at all the characters that have their own sort of plot going on. Whereas if it had really only just been my attention had been on that one plot, that would have been a much more bigger fall.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, you know, and then seeing him struggle out of the river or something like that, I don't know. I don't know.
No, he got picked up by the fishermen, by Baku's tribe. Okay.
I know. But like, it was just so like, oh, he got picked up. And oh, he's in the snow now. And
put him on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
whatever.
Whatever.
That's it. Is there anything else you want to talk about as far as the spoilers or anything?
No, I don't want to get it. I mean, I personally just don't want to talk about all like the race-related politics. I don't really think that's my place to talk about that kind of stuff. But that was there, and it was there.
Yeah. No, I actually, that's kind of what I was talking about with a lot of social commentary. I thought a lot of it was well done in the way that it was in the film. But as far as the movie, I don't think I have any other spoilers either. No? Okay.
No. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Nice. But I did like the little. I figured the tie-in with Bucky or Captain America would happen.
I like that,
and so I thought that was good.
I did a lot of research on that. They called him White Wolf, which apparently in the comics, like T'Challa, like they said, like unofficially, like adopts him as like his like little brother, like, and they call him White Wolf.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, I didn't know that. Maybe they're teasing like he's gonna like be in Wakanda, like in future installments or something like that, which would be kind of cool.
I'd be fine with it.
Anyways, that's gonna end the spoiler segment of the show.
And the show in general. Yeah,
for sure. And the show just overall. So a couple quick ways to remind you, connect with us on Facebook.com/ Real Review Media.
There you go.
And then also Twitter and Instagram at Real Review Media. And then also YouTube.com/The Real Review. Our website, realreviewmedia.com. Email us, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Make all that stuff happen. Let us know what you thought about Black Panther. I'm excited to see a sequel for it. I think they could really just do some stuff now that they got a lot of the throne situation stuff taken, figured out. Basically, he's king now.
Oh, that is true, yeah.
And so they can just open it up to just,
Well, they said he will return in the Infinity War.
Yeah.
So I figured...
Well, probably after that, too. I don't think they'll kill him.
No.
But I think,
matter who they kill in Infinity War, most of them are going to come back.
Yeah. So, let us know what you thought about that. Anything else, Joel?
Nope, I'm good.
Nah.
I'm good.
All right. Well, it's been real.
It's been real.